you know me well enough, Stephen, to know that I'm very obsessive. And when I joined the national team in Mexico, and at the 8 years that I swam competitively, I only missed 3 workouts.
Wow.
Two was because I was sick with the flu, and one was my first concert. I went to see Peter Frampton, so I didn't go to practice that day. But those were the 3 days. I remember them very well.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening for another very special edition of Diary of a Double, the year-long journey of Antonio Argüelles of Mexico to swim 67 kilometers from England to France and then back from France to England. Welcome, Antonio.
Buenos días, buenas tardes, buenas noches. Pleasure to see you, Stephen, and all our friends. I guess we have a public today. They want to see what happened to me in my fights with the jellyfishes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in our sport, we always talk about sharks and media always talks about sharks and all these other things, but it's really the jellyfish that on most channel swims, on many ocean swims, those are the problems. It's the little things, not the big jaws. And you ran into some big problems last week.
Yes, let me tell you that I was in Cabo and swimming, and last year I went over the summer and like I've hit really, really bad. So I was concerned, and Diego, my friend, told me that in the winter it's very rare that you have jellyfishes. So day one, day two went very well, but then day three I got just blown by the jellyfish. I have some pictures if you want to see them.
Yes, please.
Oh,
Please.
let me share the screen.
Antonio, do you know what kind of jellyfish these were?
No, Stephen.
Okay.
Um, they can you see the screen?
No, no.
Can you see it now?
Yes. Okay.
So by the way, you know what happened when I failed them? They had to have tentacles
Yeah.
because see what they did to me. And then that was some of that. Then in my arms, I think there was other kind of jellyfishes,
Okay. Yes.
and then my legs.
Oh, I can see where it wrapped around. Oh,
Yeah. So it's so, I cannot stop sharing. Um, it's so frustrating because it hurts so much, and there's nothing you can do.
yeah.
And people ask me, did you go out? I mean, I was about an hour out, so it's not like I'm getting on the kayak and flying back to. So I have to keep on swimming at least an hour. So I had to keep on swimming, and the first time that I got stung, I had a little fever.
Okay.
So now what happens is that when I get out, I'm hot, and it hurts where they stung me, and I used to get immediately an antihistaminic,
Yeah.
but if I do that, I just fall asleep and have a very bad day. So I just put a cream. It's a cream for burns,
Mhm.
and then at night I take a medicine.
Okay.
But it's very uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable. And I guess, as you say, when we're swimming, you know, for me that's the worst encounter that I can get is being stung because there's nothing you can do. I mean, literally,
Yeah.
you just have to keep on swimming with the pain.
Yeah. How could you describe the pain?
It's like fire.
Fire.
It from it, in the, it, if you ask me where I've been stung all over my body, even my face, where it hurts the most, it's in the nose.
Yes.
And that happened when I did Molokai.
Yeah.
Then the second place that it hurts a lot, and I think it's because we have maybe more nerves, is in the back. If you're stung in the back, it hurts more than if it's stung in your belly.
Yeah.
um, and your legs doesn't hurt that much, but it's like you're beaten, like with fire,
Yeah.
and it lasts about between 15 and 20 seconds, and then it starts going down, but it's there, and you're gonna have the pain, as long as for as long as you're in the water, and then when you get out.
Yeah. Antonio, were you just hit once, or did you go through a bloom? Did you go through a pack of jellyfish?
No, it were in different stages. You know what happens is that um, I realized that in the bay that we were swimming, there's a place where there's a lot of rocks. So the previous days we went to the left, which is open ocean, and there was no rocks. And this time we wanted to do a back and forth, and we had to go around the rocks, and that's where what all happened. And it happened in a span of about half an hour.
Uh,
So it was hit at different points. I
yeah.
guess it was just an area where you had a lot of jellyfishes.
Yeah. Yeah. And Mark Hamilton is on the line, and Mark is a coordinator, a pilot, a coach, a mentor of people who swim in the North Channel. That's between Northern Ireland and Scotland. And Mark, do you want to describe what you've seen with jellyfish in your part of the world?
Yeah, the most common one that we get here is lion's mane, and obviously the issue is with the length of their tentacles. It can be 3-4 meters long. So even if you don't see the body of the jellyfish, the tentacles can still be extending out forwards, backwards, 360 degrees around the body. So quite often what happens is you get plumes of them in the North Channel. And a plume could be 100, could be 500 of them all in one line,
Oh,
because they tend to stay around the different tidal areas. So whenever you've got the topography that's changing on the seabed, you'll get warm patches, and Antonio can attest to this in the North Channel. You'll swim into an area and all of a sudden it'll feel maybe 1, 2, 3 degrees warmer. So the jellyfish are moving around within these tidal currents, and if you hit a plume of them, realistically, you're going to probably swim face into them.
wow.
They're pretty much unavoidable. What we have done before is, if we see that happening, we can get somebody up to the front of one of the boats, which is, it's a 50-odd foot, 52-foot Barnett lifeboat. And we can get crew there blowing whistles and trying to point the swimmer away, trying to get them to change direction. And should it mean they turn 390 degrees to try and avoid it, we
Wow.
would rather that they try to do that. The outcome of swimming into them, every swimmer is going to react differently, and every swimmer's metabolism and body is going to react differently to a jellyfish sting. Yes, number of stings can be very, very influential as to how bad or how good the outcome is going to be. We have seen numerous swimmers who have ended up being hospitalized. We've seen swimmers go into anaphylactic shock as a direct result of it. And that could be from one sting, it could be from 100 stings. As I say, everybody's different with it. It is something you're going to face here. It is something you're going to face the North Channel. I guess you're going to get them as well in the English Channel, Antonio.
Oh,
We get
wait,
Yeah.
you see? No, you'll see what's gonna
No.
happen. No, you'll see what's gonna happen. I went after I came back to Mexico. I have to show you what happened, Mark, and I'm sure
Yeah.
it's not gonna happen. I have to show you.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Sure. Sure. So yeah, that's the North Channel. I hope you don't see any, Anthony. I really do. They're beautiful creatures in the water. They're lovely to watch. They're lovely to see, but they're horrible creatures as far as swimmers are concerned. Obviously, they've evolved over millions and millions of years, and they live there. That's what they do. We get plumes of them here. The best thing that you can hope of in the North Channel is that you get a warm day with bright sunshine, because they actually move down in the water to about 3 or 4 feet below the surface of the water. And in most cases, then the swimmer can actually swim over the top of them without getting caught or without getting stung.
Yeah.
You remember, Mark, when I swam the North Channel, I went above one that was bigger than me. It was like something like this. I mean, it was
Yeah,
huge,
yeah.
huge, and I was so lucky. I just went, like my belly. I just went like this. I didn't want to touch it. Remember how big it was? It was really
Yeah,
big.
we get some very, very big ones, as you say, 1 meter plus wide. Obviously very old creatures. You know, they've been floating around the North Channel for a long, long time to get to that size. And you see the brown colors in them. You know, they are obvious. It's the, you know, other jellyfish, common jellyfish, can be sort of translucent, and you can see the 4 rings in them. These ones are okay. You can see them, but you really want to try and avoid them. You know, and you know, a jellyfish that's maybe a meter wide, the tentacles could be easily 4 meters, if not longer. So, you know, you're looking at 16, 17 feet of tentacles. How do you avoid that situation?
Yeah.
It's virtually impossible. You know, you're very lucky if you don't meet any on a North Channel swim. You're very, very lucky if you don't get stung at least once.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Antonio, so why, what are you going to do to eliminate the jellyfish in
as I said in my post, I felt like I lost a battle. So when you lose a battle, you have to go and clean your wounds. So I went to Las Estacas to clean my wounds. So I was swimming there and see what happens. This little man was watching me, and I felt, that somebody was watching me, and he was meditating. So very slowly I approached him, and we got into a conversation. And he's my sensei. He asked me that he wanted to guide me in the next. He told me, I don't know how he knew, because I was in the water. He couldn't see my scars. And he told me that I had been in a very horrible battle, but that he had some advice for me. So I went out and meditated with him, and he told me he would send special vibes and special energy forces for my next week's swim in La Jolla, because I don't want to be attacked again. And you want to see how I felt after I talked to him?
Please.
So I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go to La Jolla, and I'm sure, for next week. And if you follow me on Instagram, I'm sure the sensei will send news to Don Julian, and he's gonna get the crew to be with me at in La Jolla, and we'll see if I can swim without being stung next week.
Antonio, on your stings, they were red when you got out of the water. How long did that redness last? Was it a day, 2 days?
I still have them today.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what happens is that some of those scars stay there for a long, long time.
Yeah.
I have one here in my face from the one I was stung in Hawaii. So they last. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
With these ones.
Yeah. Now, the cream that you put on, do you know what is in there?
You know what they use them for? Is for burns. If you burn yourself, or for babies where they are, when they're rash, they're for rashes. It's called, in Spanish, called andantol.
Okay.
I promise to have it next week. I'll show it to you guys.
Okay. Okay.
And Steven, Rafa is here, and last week there were some questions about, I don't know if you want to go to the next segment, or shall we stay here?
Yes, please.
So you asked me last week how it was different when if I had been a 30-year-old swimmer, and I posed Rafa the question, and he said that it probably would be a good idea to share with our audience what are the different stages of our training, and here it is. Rafa will do it in Spanish, and I'll do it a quick translation. But Rafa. We basically have four.
Hola, hola.
Vas, Rafa.
Sí, lo puedes explicar igual, ya lo sabes.
No, a ver, tú dilo rápido, son las 4 etapas.
Sí, las 4 etapas fundamentales del trabajo que se repiten durante un año son la primera, que tiene que ver con toda la estabilidad y la coordinación, en especial el core, ¿no? Toda la zona del core. La segunda etapa tiene que ver, a partir de la estabilidad, generar prevención en aquellas articulaciones, sobre todo de más uso, en especial la del hombro. Y la tercera etapa, que es la fundamental para la ganancia y la construcción de la fuerza, tiene que ver con el aumento de dos cosas. Una, la masa muscular y la fuerza específica para el nado, que es la fuerza resistencia. Y una vez terminadas estas tres etapas, se hace una etapa de transición, de transferencia, que es todo lo que se ganó en fuerza durante las tres etapas anteriores, fuerza y coordinación. Las tres etapas anteriores, se realiza una transferencia con ejercicios específicos fuera y dentro del agua.
So we have four stages. The first one is to stabilize, and you saw some of the exercises we did last week. The second one is to prevent injuries, especially in the joints, and I take a lot of care of my shoulders. Then we go to the strength exercises, and at the end we want to transfer all the previous steps or stages into a better coordination in my swimming. And so this is how it looks. How it looked for the first until December. You can see that we did where it says método. Es donde está método, ¿verdad, Rafa?
Sí, el método es más o menos la carga de trabajo aproximada, y en cada etapa van cambiando los tipos de ejercicios. Eso es fundamental. ¿Sí?
So you can see that depending on where we are, we change. Where it says frecuencia y pesos medios altos 6 to 85% is how we're doing the amount of weight, and then how many repetitions, 8 to 10 and 6 to 8. And then underneath are the reps that we do and the speed. And this is how it looks. Right now we are in January, February, March in this stage, and we're doing maximum. A ver, vas, Rafa, dilos.
Sí, ahora cambiamos un poco la etapa, pero después de la etapa esta que vas a decir de fuerza máxima, empieza toda una larga etapa de trabajos coordinativos, que es lo combinado, ¿sí? Y la transferencia a fuerza, resistencia y a potencia. Recuerda que queremos trabajar los diferentes tipos de fibra para la variabilidad, ¿sí? Pero la que construye después de la fuerza máxima, que es la máxima ganancia de fuerza, se pasa a todos los ejercicios combinados de transferencia. ¿Así? ¿Está bien?
Yeah, these 3 months we're doing maximum force, and then in April we're going to start making combinations. We're going to do pyramids, and we're going to go, depending, it's going to be medium to high. But the most important thing is how we transfer that in the last stage, especially on how we are able to use different fibers in my muscles. Because remember that one thing that's going to happen in the channel is that I will have to be able to swim at different speeds at different moments. So I have to have a wealth of fibers that are going to be able, they're going to allow me to do those speed changes. And here are just some exercises of that we do in the different stages.
Lo fundamental acá, Antonio, es que se va de lo inestable de lo estable a lo inestable.
So we go from stability to instability. And the important thing is that I'm able to, I look here very, I guess this is not, no, those it's me. So hopefully by the end of the season, I'll be able to do some of this instability. I have a hard time doing stability, so we'll see what happens when I do instability.
Y una cosa importante, Antonio, es que se trabaja el cuerpo para las rotaciones.
And something that's been very important for us is that I work my body to be able to rotate, which has been one of the key changes that Rafa has introduced in my swimming style. ¿Aquí termina Rafa?
Aquí la parte de estabilidad, después siguen las 3 etapas, no sé si querés mostrar.
Ahí va.
Okay. This is how the exercises we do to prevent my injuries.
Sí. Recuerda una cosa acá, que si la lesión está en el hombro, hay que trabajar la transferencia de la fuerza del hombro al abdomen y al tren inferior, que es coordinativo. O sea, las lesiones no se trabajan sobre la lesión, sino sobre todo el cuerpo en general, sobre lo coordinativo.
Since my weak point are my shoulders, what we do is we want to transfer my weak point into another muscle. So we do a lot of transfer to my core, so I can use my core to be able to help my shoulder. And as you can see in number 3, the medicine, this is what we did. Probably this is Donagadib.
Sí.
That's where we used to warm up, and that's where Mark and Quinton got me at 6:45 to go. We were doing those. Now this is it is later on the day, but that's the place where we did. We do a lot of always do how you call the band. We always do bands every single day. We do bands before we go into the water.
Yeah. Resistance bands, we say.
Resistant bands, okay. And then la fuerza, va Rafa.
Sí, acá es el trabajo clásico de ganancia de fuerza. Y lo fundamental es llegar a cargar pesos máximos con ejercicios derivados del levantamiento olímpico. Y acá una cosa fundamental, hay que tener mucho cuidado con los pesos medios altos, con estos de aquí, porque pueden generar una masa muscular que te saque flotabilidad, ¿sí? Entonces hay que hacer ganancia de fuerza con ganancia de velocidad también.
The tricky part, as you see, I have to adapt. But then what Rafa was saying, that this medium part, when I'm gaining strength with medium size, medium weights, you have to be very careful, because if you don't do it correctly, you're gonna gain a lot of muscle that might make you lose floatability. So it's a combination that you have to be very careful how you do it. And then when we do maximum, we only do about 6 repetitions.
Y acá mínimo las 6, 8 semanas antes de los cruces es cuando hacemos altos números de repeticiones vinculando resistencia y potencia, con gestos similares a las acciones que se hacen en el agua.
So this is between 6 and 8 weeks before the swim. We make this transfer with 2 movements that we use in the swimming, and we do a lot of repetitions when we do this last stage. Aquí termina, ¿va?
Sí. Bueno.
This is how, me pasé una, ¿va?
Bueno, esto es que no nos olvidemos siempre que la variabilidad que tiene el nado en aguas abiertas siempre corresponde entrenar la fuerza con alternancia de fibras y de velocidades y variabilidad de esquemas motrices. Punto.
So here's, we need to make sure, as I said before, that we're going to be 24 hours swimming. So we're going to need different variabilities of speed during the swim. So we need to alternate between speed and potency, and make that in the water as well. So it has to be that combination.
Between power and endurance, no?
Between power and endurance. And this is how we warm up before the swims. We do stability, then we do flexibility, then we do movements, coordination, and preventive. Que esto nos lleva aquí como 25 minutos, ¿verdad, Rafa?
Aproximadamente.
This takes about 25 minutes. And when we do long swims, we do that as well. And just before I go, Stephen, and this is something that, you know, it'll be important for our audience to know, is that Rafa is willing to share the whole season. And you just have to adapt how you want to do it in the next segments. But here's my whole plan. And as you see down here, we have different tabs. But this is how my season goes from August to August.
Okay.
So you see here, I'm going to go and do the 8 hours here.
Uh-huh.
And then at the end of, at the middle of March, I'm going to go 12. ¿Y dónde está la perrona, Rafa?
Está en abril. A ver, acá no, a fines de marzo, pero capaz que la modificamos un poquito más. ¿Sabes?
Yeah,
A 4 más 4 más 4 más 4, así definidamente. Con los descansos son 20 horas.
Okay. So between here in April, in April, we're going to do 20 hours straight, 20 hours within segments. So, but we can talk about this if you want at some other point. But I just wanted to let our friends and our audience to let them know that, you know, we'll be sharing this, and if they have questions, Rafa will be available from now on. And the next week, I'm gonna show what I did of workout during the week. And if people have questions, we can answer them. Well, Rafa can answer them. I can just see. I can just tell how much pain I had. Yeah. Rafa can explain why I had to go with the pain.
Yeah. Antonio, I love your plan. I love how Rafa has laid it out. But I do know something is very, very important, and that is consistency, or continuing to do the swims. And you impressed me last week. I don't remember when we talked, but I asked you, how many days have you missed a practice?
None.
And, perfect.
You know what? You know me well enough, Stephen, to know that I'm very obsessive. And when I joined the national team in Mexico, and at the 8 years that I swam competitively, I only missed 3 workouts.
Wow.
2 was because I was sick with the flu, and 1 was my first concert. I went to see Peter Frampton, so I didn't go to practice that day. But those were the 3 days. I remember them very well. Yeah, you know what happens is that, to me, I'm convinced that the hardest part of any crossing is training every single day.
Yes.
You cannot go in any meet or ocean or Ironman or marathon thinking that the day is gonna be a perfect day and that you're gonna be lucky, and that's not gonna happen. I mean, you need to train every single day to be able to achieve what you want.
Yes. Yeah. So 8 years, let's assume that you didn't, I don't know, you didn't swim on any weekends, although I know you swam on weekends. So let's just assume that you swam 300 times that year. So 300 times workouts times 8 years. So 2,400 workouts, and you missed 3, 2 because you're sick, and 1 because Peter Frampton invited you to the after party.
Yes. No, you can't say that here, Steven. In those days, I was a very good kid. My first beer I drank at 24. I have made up. Anyway, I have made up. Don't worry.
Yeah. Does anybody have questions out there? I mean, I don't want to dominate the questions. I can ask many, but questions, comments, similarities to your own training. And I know that, where is she? Susan, you're also known as a very dedicated trainer and workout-ateer. What were some of your impressions of Antonio's training?
Well, I think you're spot on that consistency is integral to having a really, at least going into your event, you know that you've done everything that you were able to do. following the plan. And Antonio, you have quite a plan. I think you've covered everything from the mental aspects to the to your dry land training, to your actual open water swimming, to pool training. I mean, it's kind of the full package. So yeah, training, I train about 6 days a week. Not for pool swimming, and then supplement with open water swimming. But you know, if you start to do the longer swims, then obviously then that training program switches around. But I think it also depends on how much you love the water and how much you love the training. And Antonio, I think you like the discipline as well. That's probably a motivating factor for you, you know, to make sure, you know, you have your goal, but then you also have the discipline, which for me, I love the discipline and the training. And then the swim is kind of the cherry on top of the sundae there.
But I like your comment when you wrote me, Suzanne, that you said that you were hyperactive and always motivated. So I'm hyperactive too. So that takes all the pressure at the beginning of the day. So the rest of the day, you know, my family and my coworkers can handle me. Otherwise, I become a pain, a total pain. So it's a good medicine.
I think, yes, it is good medicine. I think my husband does appreciate my swimming as well. and I work with kids, you know, when I was working with kids, that also, I think in some ways it might be a prerequisite because they have such high energy levels, and my kids were all special needs. So I was always challenged whenever I'm working with them. And also, yeah, high energy, it is very helpful. You are so right, Antonio.
Antonio, I have a question for Rafa. What does he see as your weakness? We know your strengths, but what is your weakness that he's focusing on?
¿Le entendiste, Rafa?
Sí, pero repítemela siempre para...
Dice Steven que ya conocen mis lados fuertes, pero ¿cuáles son mis debilidades?
Bueno, acuérdate, la patada y la coordinación con rotaciones, que es lo que más estamos trabajando, ¿no?
My kicking and my rotation. You know, now every time we do kicking, or every time I swim, I ask Rafa, what grade do I get in my kicking? And I've improved from -5. I'm right now about 6. Okay. So that's a big improvement. And I try to rotate more.
Yeah. So what are your plans for next week, Antonio?
I'm flying to LA on Monday.
Okay.
Driving to La Jolla. I'll get there about 12 o'clock. Then I'm going to go and swim for an hour. Then I'm going to go and have sushi. That's something that's important. Yeah. Then I have to work, and then I'm having dinner. Then on Tuesday, I do another hour swim, hour and a half. I can't remember if it's an hour and a half. And then on Wednesday, I do on Tuesday, I do a 45 minutes. Then on Wednesday, we start at 8 o'clock at night. I'm going to swim 4 hours from 8 to 12 o'clock. Then rest 4 hours. Then at 6 o'clock, get back in the water for another 2 hours. Rest 2 hours. Go back for 2 hours.
Wow.
And if anyone wants to join us for our famous dinner, we'll be at what's the name of the Hawaiian guy? We're going to be at a restaurant in La Jolla. I'll share with you, Steven. And then on Friday morning, we're just going to do maybe half an hour, 45 minutes. And then I have to work on Friday in Tijuana. You know, the foundation, they call us at the foundation Lazada Abrazada. And they want us to work with kids at something that some of you guys might know. It's called the Boys and Girls Club, and it has to do with children in marginalized areas. And they have about 600 kids, and they want us to help them with their studies, and also they want us to do the physical activity and swimming. So Rafa and I are going there on Friday, to talk to the CEO, and hopefully we'll get a program going once we go back to school in August. So we have a full week, and it's going to be a tough week. You know what happens is I'm very tired. Yesterday I made a mistake, and maybe Suzanne, you can relate to this. Yesterday, Rafa put me a workout, and I was feeling really well. So I went off boundaries. You know, I had to go R4, and in the cold water, the water was yesterday 16.2. So I went faster, and I paid it this morning. I was so tired. I didn't recover as well, and I was, so I learned the lesson that I have to listen to my coach and follow the instructions, even if I feel fast. It's so nice when you feel fast, don't you think so?
So, Antonio, so you're going to take off. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Susan.
That's really interesting that you said that, because do you think that that's a mature in years thing? As far as the recovery, you know, going really hard and then needing to take time off? Or is it, do you think that, you know, given your past history, do you think it's just, oh, well, you know, I need to rest a little bit more?
No, I think it's even with my katsu, you know, I use this for recovery. This program is brought by our advertisers, katsu, and I recover very well. No, it's just, I mean, this week I was in the airplanes 3 times during the week. I traveled and I went off boundaries yesterday. So so yeah, you get tired. And today I was tired. Rafa challenged me, and at the end he said that, you know, he always pokes me. You know, he pokes me. You know, he knows I will listen to him. And at the end of the workout, I had to do. I did. We were going to do 7 5,000s, and we just did 5 and then 500 warm down. But there were, you know, 1,000 was 25 meters R4, 25 meters R2, 50 meters R3, and then again for 1,000. Then the next 1,000 was 75 R4, 25 meters R2. So your shoulders and your arms, after those changes of speed, are dead. And then the third one was at R3. So my problem right now is I cannot hold R3 perfect. So the first one didn't go very well. So the second one, that was a challenge. And so I had to concentrate a lot, and I was able to do it. But I was tired. Today I was tired.
Mm-hmm. That's why they call it swim practice.
No, you never cut swim practice. No, you never do that. You know, Rafa was telling me this morning, because yesterday I was very happy. This morning I was, you know, a little bit moody. So I said, every workout is a very good workout. I said, no, the only bad workout is the one you don't do. So even if you don't feel well, it's better to do the workout at not feeling well than not doing it.
Well stated.
Thank you. By the way, did you receive the book?
No, not yet.
I have to find out what it is. Okay.
I'm dying to read it.
Okay.
Okay, Antonio. Well, we'll see you next week. And after your 8-hour swim and work and travel, and we're going to be cheering you on.
Stephen, can I put a request in for some questions, but I don't know if they've been covered?
Yes.
For next week. I was curious about some of the nutrition recovery, but I don't know if you've already covered that. And the drinks besides, Antonio, besides beer and tequila after your swims. But seriously, what are some of what is your nutrition after you swim, especially a long swim or an intense swim like today? So
I eat beforehand. I eat beforehand some grapes.
What? Yeah.
Before workout, and once I finish, I eat again some grapes, and I eat and I drink some protein, a scoop of protein.
Okay.
And when I go to the cold water, like like the pool with the cold water, I try to eat beforehand a little bit of sweet potato with milk, and that helps me a lot. And honestly, Suzanne, I don't do any recovery. Recovery is just what the body needs, and I just follow my my instinct. What my body asks is, you know, usually after that many hours drinking Axel gel, the dinner I'm not that hungry, because this is what I like, that the Axel gel maintains me with no hunger. I have energy all the time, which is important in the swim. So I'm not, when I go out, I'm not very hungry. But the next morning and the next day, then I'm very hungry. And I usually try to eat some carbohydrates and some protein, but nothing special. That's an area that I try to do things, but that's not the one I'm the most concerned.
Okay.
And you have to include red wine, not just tequila and beer. Red wine. Don't forget the red wine. And you live in the close to the Napa Valley, so no excuses not to drink red wine from Napa.
Okay, I'll thank you. All right, thanks, Steve. Thanks.
Okay, no problem. All right, Antonio, 8 hours. We're cheering for you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, take care, all. Thank you.